Snow fell in thick, swirling flurries outside, casting a cold, silvery glow through the living room windows. The air was rich with the scent of pine and cinnamon, wrapping the space in warmth despite the bitter chill beyond the walls. The fireplace crackled, its glow dancing across the faces of family gathered around the Christmas tree. Laughter filled the air, cheerful voices exchanging pleasantries, the perfect holiday scene, until my wife, Karen, stood up. Something about the way she moved, the sharpness in her gaze, made my stomach tighten. In her hands, she held a manila envelope, divorce papers. She smiled, but not the way she used to. It was the same detached, practiced smile she'd offer me after handing me a drink at the end of a long workday. Cold, rehearsed, distant. "I'm finally leaving him," she announced. The words sliced through the festive atmosphere like a blade. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then, as if on cue, the room erupted into applause. Her family cheered. My family cheered. All except for me. I didn't flinch, didn't panic. I simply smiled, slow, deliberate, calculated. Even to me, it felt unfamiliar. Perfect timing. I murmured, voice steady, unreadable. "Now, everyone, open your gifts." The clapping faltered, confusion flickering across eager faces. But curiosity won, and soon the sound of wrapping paper tearing filled the room. No one expected what came next. Karen and I had been married for 14 years. 14 years of what I thought was trust. She had always been charming, the life of every gathering. People adored her. But behind the facade, things were different. I had noticed the subtle changes. The late nights at work, the impersonal way she brushed past me, the whispers into her phone when she thought I wasn't around. It took time, but the puzzle pieces started fitting together. The truth unraveled in the simplest of ways. A single forgotten text message on her phone. Daniel, a name I had never heard before. "Can't wait for tonight. Just you and me." At first, I froze. My mind refused to accept it. But the more I thought about it, the more everything clicked. Her late nights weren't for work. She wasn't distant because of stress. She was meeting him. Daniel was her new life, and I was just a placeholder. When I confronted her, she denied it. She cried, played the victim, called me paranoid. But I knew. Yet, I didn't lash out. That wasn't my style. Instead, I waited. I watched. I learned. Every excuse, every lie, every carefully constructed deception only cemented my resolve. I gathered everything. Phone records, credit card statements, even an email confirming a dinner reservation for two. Proof. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to plead. I was going to make sure she felt the weight of her betrayal. So I waited, and I planned. Christmas Eve, the perfect setting. Karen was glowing, practically vibrating with satisfaction. She thought she was about to win. She believed she controlled the narrative. That tonight was her moment of triumph. She had no idea who she was dealing with. The family laughed, tearing through gifts, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. I remained still, composed, waiting for the right moment. Then, finally, I reached for the last present, wrapped carefully in black foil paper. "For you," I said, my voice smooth, unreadable. Karen's eyes sparkled with curiosity. She ripped through the wrapping, then froze. Her breath hitched. Her hands trembled. A USB drive. A video. The color drained from her face as she clicked play. On the screen, grainy yet unmistakable, she and Daniel sat at a dimly lit restaurant. The footage captured every intimate glance, every lingering touch. A moment of silence stretched over the room, suffocating. Then, her voice, weak, barely a whisper. This isn't real." She sobbed, eyes darting wildly, searching for an escape. But there was none, because I hadn't just shown the video. I had already sent it to her family, her friends, to Daniel's wife. The room that had once cheered for her now watched in stunned horror. The same people who had clapped moments ago now recoiled, eyes wide with disbelief. Karen crumbled. Her breath came in ragged gasps, her fingers clutching at the empty air as if she could somehow grasp control again. But it was too late. She thought she was orchestrating a clean exit, a fresh start. Instead, she had walked straight into a reckoning. "You made a mistake, Karen," I murmured, my voice low, almost gentle. "But unlike you, I don't forget." Tears streaked down her face as she stammered, begged. But I had nothing left to give. She had torn apart everything we had built. Now I had taken it all back. As I turned, leaving behind the wreckage of the life we once shared, the room remained deathly silent. Only the sound of her muffled sobs followed me, but I never looked back. No words, no explanations. I had already won.